Right, hello guys, welcome to my first video for quite a long time now, I think over 2 months. Now before things get underway, I have no idea what this is. Woke up this morning, wasn't even there. All of a sudden, like 10 minutes before I start this video, it just suddenly appeared. Things like some sort of weird bruise, but anyway, doesn't matter. So, this season, a new season, a fresh start. I'm really excited, and I think every other Blade probably is as well, because after last season, seeing so many defeats, especially at the start of it, I think we just know that we're going to get a lot more wins this season, so it's going to be a massive improvement straight away. And with the new manager as well, who's got a great reputation in getting teams up to the Premier League. You know, he's had two teams, two promotions in Watford and Fulham. So in that sense, we're in safe hands. Now, the team itself I think we've got a very good squad now. Of course, that didn't really show much last season, but I think that quality is definitely good enough for the Championship, alongside the fact we had our best midfielder out for basically the biggest part of the season, and also having to adjust to not having our best defender as well. So in this video, I'm going to go over a few sort of categories. The first one's formation for the season. Now, from what we see in the friendlies, that it's going to be a 3-4-3 formation. Now, I think this will definitely be ideal for us because we've been used to playing the 3-5-2 or the 3-2-1-2 under Wilder, and you know how far that got us, how well we did under it. So it's a pretty similar formation. I think it just means, of course, two wings instead of two strikers and an extra creative midfielder. And I think with sort of all the striking options we have and the pace, it only makes sense to do that because we have 6 strikers to choose from. And I watched Fogden and Fogdad's video, and Fogdad mentioned that the morale of having 2 strikers play at most each week with 6 to choose from is going to make a lot of them unhappy. But I disagree because, like I've said, we've got a 3 up front with this formation. And if you look at Burke, Brewster, Mousse especially, they've got a lot of pace, and they're probably going to be more than happy to play out wide. So that already means we've got a much easier way to fit them all in, alongside the fact that McGoldrick under Heckingbottom was playing as a right winger and really excelled there, kind of got some nifty positions, and also didn't have the pace. He had the sort of the trickery to get away from people, and that's in the Premier League, of course, where it's even more competitive, even more well, maybe not as physical, but definitely not quicker as well. So I think in the Championship, you should more than fine to play as a right winger once again. Now, another thing that they did also mention in the video is the lack of transfer movement. Now, that's very true. We're only really linked with 2 people at the moment. Ben Davis, not the one who plays for Tottenham. It's the one that plays for Liverpool now. We've been linked with him for about a year now because he was running out of contract at Preston last year before he moved to Liverpool. And we sort of wanted him as a replacement for Jack O'Connell. Never happened. Whether it will happen this season or not, it's probably going to be more likely. And there's one other team that's linked with him as well. Off the top of my head, I can't remember who, but I believe it's another Championship club. And I think he'll know where he plays and how he'll play in our system, so it'll be pretty self-explanatory from when the move he gets what it'll be like for us. And I can only see from his perspective it's worth doing because he didn't play a single minute under Liverpool last season. Now that Van Dijk and Gomez are back for them, even less chance of that happening. So he knows it's a way of excelling his career and getting a bigger move, or even staying with us permanently. So I think for him it's an ideal move, just where the Liverpool, who are very good for their transfer business, will find the right amount of money that will suit them for us to get the move. The other player is Ronaldo Vieira. Sadly, not Ronaldo and Vieira, but he's previously played at Leeds, and what I've heard, he's had a decent-ish spell there, but was pretty injury prone. Now at Sampdoria, so he's playing the top Italian division, which is quite impressive for us to be able to get a player of that calibre. Almost scored a bicycle kick against Juventus, so that's something which is quite impressive for us as well. But he looks like he's more defensive rather than offensive as a midfielder, which in all honesty I think we do need, because we've got Fleck who can go forward for us, and we've also got Luke Freeman coming back, who's a great creative player. McGoldrick, I think the only thing we don't really have is players which can kind of sit back when we're on the attack. You know, Berg, another one I forgot to mention, who's good going forwards. I think only really Norwood's the only other player we've got who can sit back when we go forward. So I think it's very good to have someone else instead of him that can play for us. He does look very solid, and as long as he can stay fit, I'm sure he'll be a great addition to the squad. Now, in terms of the team we have, I think we all have to agree promotion is a necessity. I mean, that front line is ridiculous for the Championship. McBurney got over 20 goals for Swansea. Brewster, I think, got 12 goals in half a season for Swansea as well. Sharp has a great record in the Championship, and probably will be playing every game week in, week out this year because of his age. But I think we'll also have a great addition to the team. McGoldrick, great player for us when we got promotion as well. So it's all players which will help contribute. Mousse, you know, in a half-fit season, the Premier League got 6 goals. So I think he's going to be someone who looks like he's very fit at the moment, so will definitely help push on this season. I think he'll be a real threat for us. Burke, I think he'll also play his part. I think he won't be playing up front, but if we're playing with wingers in the formation, like I say, then I think he'll be playing out wide and have a great addition to the team there. Brewster, like I've just already said, 12 goals already. I think this is a season where he's really going to push on, and I think big things will come from this season. And then we've got Bogle, who I think is another player to look out for. Still very young, a lot of potential, showed a lot of great signs last season of how good he was. I think his biggest problem is that we've got two very good right backs, so it'll be about who's going to play first. But rotation is key, like I've mentioned. So I think having two really good right backs is going to be massive as well in the season. I think the other side not as strong, a lot of depth, but I don't know how good Norton Davis will be. I think I've heard a lot of good things, so hopefully he'll be a great player for us on the other side. Lowe didn't play loads last season, so we never really saw how good he was. Osborne, I think he's a great player, and it'll be whether he plays further forward or as a left wing back. If he plays a left wing back, I think we're a very solid player there for us too. Norton Davis obviously has had good loan spells. Be interested to see how he plays for us this season. I think he could do well, but I haven't even really seen him play. I just know and have heard that he's a very highly regarded player, so hopefully he can push on for us as well. The defence, Basham, of course, great experience, great player. Egan as well. That left-sided slot, of course, we're not really sure what's going on there. Looks like probably be Robinson for now, but I don't know if that's going to be going on forward, who else it could be. Maybe that's why we really need the Ben Davis, so he'll play there and replace him instead. Ramsdale in goal, great goalkeeper, of course. Now he's really started to push on, and being in the England squad, of course, getting the silver medal sort of shows where we are as a team, and if we keep hold of him amid the Arsenal interest, that'd be amazing, of course. And going to midfield, got Fleck, Norwood and Berg. Of course, there's the addition of Vieira as well, like I mentioned, but I think Berg's the best one out of that to look out for, and I think he's really going to be the one to win the battles in midfield for us. It's about whether Fleck can kind of re-find his form that he had in the Championship and obviously the Premier League in that first season. Norwood, I don't know how he's going to be fitting around the team this season. I think he'll probably play a few games as well. We know he's had triple back-to-back promotions from the Championship, so he's a great player to have in your team. But I think if we can keep hold of Berg amid Arsenal interest once again, just like Ramsdale, I think it could be one of the best midfielders in the Championship. And concluding all of that, that is why I personally think we'll go up this season, because that team is very strong. And alongside the fact that in the Championship, a lot of teams have kind of got quite weak this season due to lack of financial input, which I'll mention in further detail towards the end of the video. Going back to transfers, another thing I've got to mention is I think the more important thing for us, rather than adding to our squad, it's about keeping. I think if we keep Berg and Ramsdale, we should go up, because having a very good goalkeeper at this level is crucial, because the amount of points they save you is just incredible. And I think also the games won and lost in midfield, so having a great midfielder is always going to help as well. And I know it's someone I was quite harsh of last season, well, both of them to be fair, but I think Berg, I know it was only against Doncaster, but he still looked very good in that game from the highlights I saw. And I think you can kind of use that power that he has. It's because he's a massive guy, 6'5", and he's not a skinny guy either. He's pretty bulky, so he's going to take a lot to knock over. And I think if he can sort of get the most out of his physicality in the Championship, he's going to be a very hard player to stop, and that's just what we need. So I think keep hold of those two players, and we should be having a very good season. The last thing to get into is just the Birmingham game. Now, the actual game itself, sadly, I won't be going to. One of the disadvantages being a London blade. You know, if it was a midday kickoff, would definitely have been there, but because it's an 8 o'clock kickoff, wouldn't make the last train back unless I want to leave the game early. So sadly, I'm not going to be there, but hopefully soon. And I've got my season ticket, so I'm buzzing to go to the games this season. The plan of the channel is to actually film games in the grounds and do some sort of vlogs, just like Fogden's done. And hopefully sooner rather than later that'll be done. And I hope you guys will enjoy it. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. They've got a few decent players. They've got Djukovic, who's a pretty tricky target man from what I can remember, and always gets a goal. So that's someone we've definitely got to watch out for. But if we're playing with 3 centre-backs today, then I think that should be a big help for us in trying to contain him. They've also got Scott Hogan, who, as you all know, was part of our promotion season. Didn't play that much, but was obviously played his partner on the lessons, got one of the goals against Ipswich, which basically confirmed our promotion that day as well. They've also got Etheridge, who is, I would say, quite a solid keeper, and I think, you know, it'll be pretty hard to score past today, but with 3 strikers, I'm sure we'll have a lot more of a chance of doing that. And lastly, Clayton, who I don't really know these days how good he is, but I know back in the day when he was at Middlesbrough, having them get promotion, he was quite a solid midfielder. So they're sort of players you've got to watch out for. I don't really know how good Birmingham are, to be honest. I've kind of fallen out of touch with the Championship since we've gone up, which is very bad of me. I know they're kind of a mid-table team in recent years, and I think another advantage we're going to have is that a lot of teams that have been in the Championship that haven't got relegated from the Premiership don't have the parachute money, and because of the Championship, it's all dependent on gate receipts and getting, you know, the fans into the ground. And because they missed out on that for a year and a half now, it's a lot less money for them, unlike the Premier League where it's all on TV money. So that's one advantage we're going to have, is we're going to have a lot more funds to our disposal, whereas with Championship clubs it's more about retaining your team rather than improving it. So I think that's a big advantage we're going to have, is that we can actually improve our team, whereas others just have to keep it the same and hope for the best. We've got to strike Lions hot, because next year when everyone's back in the ground for a whole season, more people back than ever to watch football because they missed out for a year and a half. This is why I think we have to go up this season. Now, a few things I forgot to mention in the first part of the video. The first thing is Heckingbottom, and just massive thank you, because I haven't actually done a video since he left, and what a good job he kind of did trying to come in, you know, and just try and steady the ship a bit. And he did that and got a few wins as well, which was definitely helped us save our blushes a bit towards the end of the season. The second is Jebson. It looks like he's been going out on loan to Sunderland, which is great because we've got loads of striking options, which we've mentioned. And I think having 6 to rotating 3 spots is definitely perfect for the Championship season, because of all the games you have to play with. You know, you have 46 games compared to 38 in the Premier League. It means that we need that rotation a lot more, and having that rotation, and especially when you consider injuries and suspensions as well, I think it's great to have that. But I think someone like Jebson, he needs a lot of game time to kind of get to the experience he needs to be playing regularly for us, and I think going down a division can definitely help do that. And of course, we can recall him in January if he's absolutely destroying the league and getting 20 goals, which you never know, because he did look quite lively. He only played 3 games for us, and I only really watched one of them very closely, but he did look very good, very fiery. Just kind of needs that experience and that game time, which I think at Sunderland he'll get. And it'd be good to see him do well at Sunderland as well, and hope for the best. The last thing is, I just noticed when I was watching the first clip back, is the eye contact. It's a new camera, so I'm trying to get used to it, and so far it's not looked great, but you know, hopefully in the future I'll get used to it, and I'll improve on the eye contact, because I know I'm not even looking directly at the screen basically the whole of the video, but hopefully next time I'll remember. Anyway, thank you guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, take it easy.